Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PauperGeddon 2024, the #1 rock horror MTG festival in the world. My name is Will Hall, better known on the internet as the Will Hall EXP, and I'm joined in the booth by none other than Mr. PauperGeddon. How you doing, my friend?
I'm well.
Seen a lot of good magic so far today? Anything else you want to see that you haven't seen yet on coverage?
No, I think I'm very happy with what I see this weekend.
Good. That's why I like to see. Well, we've got a little bit more for you as we have got some winning in Magic. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're in round number 12, the last round of Swiss over these 2 days. This game, winner in the top 8. Loser, well, you're probably looking like top 16, top 32 sort of range. Still going to win yourself a nice chunk of money because, of course, 20,000 euros on the line, split between our top 64 players this weekend. So,
well, the first thing I want to say is Giorgio Venditti is a fan favorite because he's Giorgio Combo, a pillar of the community.
Okay.
He's playing Ponza currently.
Oh, you tell me there's a judge that's good at Magic?
No, his name is Giorgio.
Oh, I thought you said a judge.
No,
that was good. I was like, oh, okay, because we all,
He's well known because he always plays combo, except today, I think.
Okay, well, so, and they decided to bring Ponza.
Yeah, but his list seems very, very well tuned. So
let's have a little look at the list. Let me get that bad boy up.
While he's playing versus Walls combo, so I'm very curious about the outcome of this because
it looks pretty stock to me. The only thing I can see is slightly different to what we're seeing quite a lot of this weekend is
look at the
Dread
sideboard.
Mask. Look at the sideboard. So we've got Naya's Disciple, Breath Weapon, Lightning Bolts, Gorilla Shamans, and De-Glamours. We'll be talking about that later on. But yeah, okay, this is a very tailored sideboard. Doesn't look like it's going to be great for this matchup. But maybe,
I think the bolts are great.
We'll talk about that in a little bit later on. But it is up against the traditional Walls deck. This looks like straight combo in the main. Like it's not what we've seen a couple of times this weekend where we've seen some Wall players keeping the combo in the sideboard and then bringing it in. This is straight up, face up. We are going balls to the walls, as we say in England. All right. Maybe they're just waiting for the thumbs up from us in the booth that we can tell them that they are ready to start whenever they want to. The clock timer has started, and maybe we've got a mulligan going on right now. What sort of opening hands are we looking for? Let's start over on the Ponza side. What's one of the best openings that they can have?
I think starting with turn 1 Arbor Elf because it opens you to having 4 mana potentially on turn 2. Then start to ramp with Novuli Acid Moss, destroying your opponent's land, and then go on with this. Or even Chrysalis. I think the Ponza side here really needs to get on board fast. So it needs to start applying pressure with the initiative, etc. Also, the initiative is quite difficult to steal from the Walls combo side. It can happen, but it's quite unlikely, I'd say.
So basically, as long as we can hit some of our payoff spells, they're going to really be used to our advantage, especially if we can get them down multiple turns sooner than they're meant to potentially come down 7, 6 drops, even 5 drops, as you said, with Avenging Hunter. So over on the Wall side, what's the Walls trying to do? What's the kind of the best opening look like?
I think turn 1 Quirion Ranger, because Quirion prevents your opponent to bounce to destroy the land and ramp. And then even like any turn 1 play kind of works, because then you can start chaining spells. But of course, since the Walls combo deck doesn't play many lands, because of course playing Leader Stampede and Winding Way means you can play maybe 13, 14 lands maximum. You often keep one landers.
Well, we're seeing that on the side here. Both players starting off with the 1 drops. Here comes a Ranger. Looks like we're going to generate a mana while bouncing the land back, replaying the land. So we can start generating. So yeah, 1 lander, but we've got the Ranger out, so we can also start dodging some of these, land destruction effects that is obviously so well known from these Ponza decks. It's literally where they get the name from. But 2 mana here. Well, we're going to look at the top 4. We're going to put a permanent into our hand, and well, we got the options, but we didn't hit another land there. So if this is our only forest, we might be having to pass the turn back.
Yeah, I think here Utopia's Pro would be the pickup, I guess. By the way, someone asked in the chat what is Ponza. So Ponza is the nickname of the Magic community for green-red decks that tries to destroy lands.
I think that I must have said Ronza instead of Ponza, so maybe that's what the chat's pointing out there. I think they're getting that. Maybe this is what we call the new deck with all the Eldrazi in it. You should know a bit of Ronza instead of Ponza. Eldrazi spawn token generated, because we can sacrifice that for 1 colorless mana if we need to. And then we do have a second land drop, but it is a tapped 1. Passing the turn back to Walls. What face up traditionally? How does this matchup normally go? Is this favored towards one deck than the other?
I think probably the Wolves combo is advantaged because again the land destruction plan of Ponza doesn't really work because you play really a lot of other mana sources, and since the Ponza list doesn't play removal in the main traditionally. It's usually easy for you to combo off at some point. Also, you play really a lot of blockers because at some point when you start chaining walls, you can start throwing the O-freeze or even the Quirion Rangers to your opponent's creature without trample. So I think you have enough time to develop your combo while you are not very susceptible to.
Here comes new MH3 card.
Yeah,
it's going to be the Chrysalis is going to come down 2/3 with reach. Every time a Eldrazi sign is sacrificed or leaves the battlefield, I believe something like that. When it leaves the battlefield, it gets +1/+1, and on cast itself generates 2 Eldrazi spawn tokens, which you see on the battlefield there. I want to go back to what you were saying. You said that Wolves will just combo off. What is the combo? Like for people looking into maybe the first time or new to Pauper like myself. What is the combo? What do I need to play around? How am I going to lose this game if I play against Wolves?
So basically, you play some walls add mana equal to the number of walls you control.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can play. There is an enchantment that's called Freed from the Real that lets you untap a creature for 1 mana blue. And so basically, if you create an infinite amount of mana blue by tapping and untapping the same wall,
mm-hmm.
and then there are various payoffs. One draws you your deck. One shoots 3 damage to your opponent, paying 8 mana. So you pay infinite and you kill your opponent. And we saw probably the other finisher in the previous round of coverage. That was the door from Forgotten Realms that let you ping your opponent. So you complete the dungeon 20 times, and there is a room in the dungeon that pings your opponent for 1. yeah.
A lot of clicks on Modo.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how the Wolves deck can win. Obviously, with the multiple ranges on the battlefield now, the land destruction strategy is not going to be going too well for us in this instance. Could we win as early as next turn on the Wolves side?
I think so, yeah. But it depends on what they find. Okay,
looks Here comes the Vengeance Hunter. So sure. We will go into the a dungeon, get into initiative. Obviously, multiple rooms in the dungeon. The first one we start off in lets us go find a basic and put that into our hand.
Looks like, of course, Venditti is starting to apply pressure because this is the only way you have shot in this matchup.
And there's not much reach, right? Like the only reach you have is literally from the dungeon when you when you get into the trap, and you can do 5 damage to face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like the trampling damage doesn't really impact the game because often. Like your opponent creatures have a big darkness, so they take just 1 or 2 trampling damage. Can we just ask them to move the initiative to the left?
So it's not on the I'll put that in the chat so they can get that down there. I've got it up in front of us here. So we're definitely on chapter 1. Of course, both players can utilize this if they can deal combat damage to each other to kind of steal it back and forth, and every time you do steal it, you get to advance. If you don't steal it off your opponent, they get to use it in the upkeep.
Yeah. By the way, someone in the chat said, love to see Wolves 9-2. Yeah, we talked about how strong the deck is for this weekend, where combo decks kind of were probably the glitch in the matrix for the meta game. And I can do a little bit of a spoiler. So one Wool combo will be in the top 8 for sure, because it was locked already this turn. This is the last turn of the tournament Swiss, and then we will proceed to the top 8 later.
Never spoil top 8s. Come on, you're like the worst. I bet you tell me the ending of what happened at the Avengers films. All right, back to what we got going on here. It looks like we're kind of doing our game plan on Wolves side. Very low land count, like you said. Not traditionally not very good against land destruction, but like we really got great counters for that in the Quirion Rangers on the battlefield. Quirion Rangers, it's kind of got a bit of a unique text to it. We don't really see too much anymore, right? Printing it on cards, being able to untap a creature, but the cost for that is to return a land to our hand. And when you start using the low land count, you tap the land for mana, return it to your hand, untap a creature, then replay the same land to generate, your land drop for that turn. So really, taking full advantage of having a low land count, but using it to our advantage, which means we can keep more walls in our deck and have, a couple extra win cons if needs be.
And also, the Wolves deck plays Gingerbread Cabin, so you can bounce it back each turn and gain free life.
Yeah.
That's a smart edge versus aggressive decks.
Love to see it. How's Gavin getting on? I haven't seen him for a little bit, but I know he has picked up a loss at some point today, and I think he maybe even a draw. But we'll keep you updated on that. Of course, the standings will end up going live at some point after this round, so you can all have a little look at home. And then I'm not so sure when, but at some point, again, the top 8 deck lists will go live, because I know that's what you want, chat. That's what I see, all the exclamation mark decks in chat. I know that's what you really want. You want to pick up that hot tech before your next big Pauper tournament. I'll give you a little hint. One of them is called Chrysalis, and you see it on the battlefield right now. It is extremely good. MH free card. Really, coming out of the woodwork. Like, we all thought the Familiar was going to be good. We thought Sneaky Snacker had some potential, but not. We didn't think it would be in as many decks as we see it in. Obviously, we see even in the Madness decks. And that it's a black-blue card, but like that deck, realistically, unless you're using treasure tokens, is just a straight black-red deck. But somehow we're getting this blue-black card out of our graveyard and utilizing that to full effect. So it's really cool to see MH3, and it's not even. This is just the second tournament that MH3 has been legal in. So imagine how it's going to go in the next 6 months and what sort of decks are going to come out of the woodwork there.
I'm very, very curious. I'm very curious even to see what's the most played card from MH3 to this PauperGeddon. I think it's the Chrysalis itself, rather than the Familiar. But I'm curious. I really like how the format, how the new set impacted the metagame without ruining it, because like in the previous years, MH sets were a bit scary, because we got Storm Summer, we got another Affinity Summer. Well, I think these cards are all quite balanced, and some cards can be annoying, I think, but nothing is broken.
Well, of course, we had a pre-ban as well, remember, because yesterday we had a talk with the panel. Weirdly, the two of them sat in the room right now, so we can't be too harsh on them. But no, we had the panel there where we were able to speak to all three of them about, like, how do they ban cards, why do they ban cards, what do they look for, how often do they talk, how often do they come together to speak about it. And if you missed that, make sure you go back and watch it on the VOD, because there was a lot of questions. I asked a lot of fan questions, as in what people were asking me throughout the day to ask them. So I literally threw all the hard-hitting questions at them. There was none I skipped over or anything like that. So if you want to have a deep dive onto what the panel does, well, make sure you go back and look at yesterday's VOD. It's at the end of yesterday after round number 7. Back to the match where we've got winning in Magic. Both players 9-2, looking for that 10th win. 10th win, that pretty much locks you into top 8 here at PauperGeddon 2024.
So it's looked like that the Wolves combo deck is quite stumbling at executing the combo, because it doesn't have anything. So it's just trying to use Valakut Invoker, that is the creature that for 8 mana let you shoot 3 damage where you want, to restrain its opponent side. So I think he's trying to shoot the initiative guy now.
So we tap in, untap this, bounce the land back, tap this again, generate more mana. How much mana are we generating? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana every time we do this currently.
Yeah, so they decide to kill the initiative guy, the Avenging Hunter. Yeah, and now the Chrysalis doesn't have trample, so I think he can just steal the initiative with the Quirions, and decide not to. Yeah.
So we move one more room deeper in. I have no idea where I think we'll go down the left-hand side. So this one...
I'm not sure, because I think this is the top and this is the bottom.
Oh, it's bottom. So we're going into it's a trap now. Yeah, that would make sense. Life total dropping down to 4. So we did a little... is it Lava Axe is the 5 damage, 5 mana spell? Lava Axe to face for free, just for going through a dungeon.
Yeah, I think here attacking was kind of free, but maybe the player is concerned about some hasty pirate coming to the battlefield, because we know that the Ponza deck plays the hasty pirate with Cascade.
Just going to double check before I say it,
Yeah.
but there is no reach at all in this deck, right? You know where this is slightly different. We know about the sideboard that you mentioned, there's lightning bolts and stuff going around there. So we're basically after some of our trampling spells where we've got the Colossal Dread Mask. That could be pretty good in this situation. Being able to play that and equip it, give basically any of our creatures +6/+6 and trample.
That card is very, very strong, I think.
Yeah, I like it. And there's one copy in this list. I've seen as many as 2 to 3 in some of the others throughout this weekend.
It seems very strong because apart from the fact that Affinity has zero business in dealing with that, because they play 0 removals for artifact, so you can just keep equipping it to other creatures and attack for trample. But also, it's really scary sometimes, I think.
Right, second Chrysalis coming down, generating another 2 Eldrazi spawn tokens. So now when one of these goes, both of them will get +1/+1, which this in itself could be a bit of a clock. Like if we have to start getting chump block mode on the other side, that's going to reduce our mana that we generate every single turn, which is not something that we want to happen at all.
Yeah, in fact, he broke with the Quirion that since it isn't a wall, it's not a big deal.
I'm okay with that.
But I think we are close to something because...
we have to be. It's either we top deck something. Bear in mind, we've got a lot of good top decks that we can hit. We've got ways to search for our deck. You know, revealing the top 4, some of the new ones, Winding Ways we've got going on. What else? Oh, is that sideboard or is that main? That might be main. Let me have a look what we've got in the main. Lead the Stampedes is a good way for us to try and restock our hands. We've even got like a Draft of Phantasm where we can try and transmute that at some point and go find a combo piece.
Well, first you are probably looking for X-Bane Guardian. That is the 3 mana wall that gives you colored mana. Yeah, the first card, X-Bane Guardian. Yeah. And then once you have blue mana, you can do the wizardy things. So transmuting.
The wizardy things. Yeah. Is that what we're calling it? I love it. You do all the wizardy things just like Harry Potter. Okay, we're going to sacrifice some scions here. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. I think, okay, I'll do this one first. Would you like to respond? I think is what is being asked. +1 counters all around. +1 counter on this one. Resolves. I'd like to sacrifice the second one, maybe. Yes, I would. Trigger. There's no good time to actually fire this off right now because we've got the ability to do 3 damage to target of our choice at instant speed if we want to. Avenging Hunter is going to come down here.
That's big because it triggers initiative once more, and the last part of the initiative is actually, I think, very strong. Yeah, because it can put even more pressure to this board.
So this is reveal the top 10 cards of your library. Put a creature from among them onto the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters. It gains hexproof until end of turn, then shuffle.
Yeah, basically show and tell for a trampler. Big trampler.
I was about to say, do you go in for another Avenging Hunter?
Yeah,
1, 'cause it's got trample. 2, it hits you through the dungeon yet again. So we're only now 2 more rooms away from trap happening and being able to do another 5 damage to the face.
Yep, I think so.
All right, well, it looks like they agree as well. It's now 2 big tramplers on the battlefield for the price of 1. This turn is the top deck turn. Like if Wolves is going to win, it's probably got to be this turn. If not, they're going to have a real hard time dealing with these tramplers, dealing with these also big threats which have to be blocks. Now they are lethal threats. These are Chrysalis on the left of your screen here. Or we've got to somehow get the initiative back to stop that trap happening.
I mean, I don't think so. I think the plan now is just to try to
survive, combo off ourselves.
Yeah,
looks like we're going for a block. Just a little bit of chump in here, leaving us with 5 creatures. All do have defender.
Yeah, and I like someone just in the chat mentioned that probably Red Green Ponza is unfavored in this matchup, but like the deck can always be ready to put trampling creatures as fast enough to
That's
kill
not
the
going to be
opponent.
it. We're going to
and
see
in fact,
Ponza.
we see Ponza, the unfavored.
The unfavored Ponza coming down. They had all like the setup. They didn't have the payoff over on the other side. They were missing the key common piece. Obviously, all the land destruction looked like it was stuck in hand there. When the elves managed to get off the battlefield, were able to start taking out some lands, but it was too much damage, too quick. Being able to apply that pressure, and that's the downside of playing the combo deck, right? Sometimes you just draw the wrong half of your combo. When you draw both heart parts and you just win out of nowhere and it looks great, you're like, this deck's so good, it's so broken. Sometimes you draw the wrong half, and the decks you're against will take advantage of that, and that's maybe why we're seeing so much Ponza this weekend coming to the top of the standings, and now only one game away from getting into our top 8.
Yeah. I think it depends from combo to combo. We can agree like King Yawgmoth. That's a combo deck, but every card you draw, you're happy. Like,
it's very rare you win through combo with Malgoth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's normally just a value deck that can just grind out your opponent's. Grist is a heck of a card. Going on to this, so Wolves sideboard. Let's talk through it. We've got some Gorilla Shamans. We've got a Mirror Shell Crab. What is that there for?
I think it's for other combo decks.
Okay.
Because it's a stifle that you can't counter.
Counter spell you can't counter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pulse of Morosa. I love this card. Is this going to be the matchup for that?
I'm not sure. No, I think that I won't expect my opponent to interact too much. So I would just probably bring some things that gains me life either, or...
I'm not gonna lie to you, none of this looks good. Like none of these cards look good. We've got a Return to Nature, we've got a Scattered Shot Archer, we've got a Tammy of Self-Keeping, and a Warp in Vigor. Okay. So
yes, someone mentioned that the Crab is also for board wipes. Yeah, that's a smart advice. Yeah, maybe I would board Safekeeping just in case. But the problem is if you board in spells when you are playing 8 Lead the Stampede, you are making your card worse. So I'm not sure you can board in too much.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the over on the Ponza side, what they've got on their side. But we've got some 4 Diglammers, some Goblin Shamans. We've got 4 Lightning Bolts in the main, 2 Breath Weapon, and Nihilai's Disciple, 3 copies. Anything you like bringing in here?
I think I'd bring in the bolts. Yep. And I'm not sure about Breath Weapon because the card seems always underwhelming versus walls. But I guess it depends on how many cards you want to trim. And do
you trim land destruction in this matchup?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I feel like I played a little bit of deck. I would trim it on the draw on the play. I might keep out the acid mosses, but bring in keep in the thermocast. If I can Stone Rain my opponent on turn 2, it's gonna when they've only got 1 land, that could be really good in my favor.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can get a little bit blown out if there's a ranger on the other side. Your plan kind of falls apart. But I think I'm willing to take that risk, as it looks like we're taking another mulligan down on the wall side. I think game 1 they also mulligan down to 5 before we even started that match.
Yeah, we talked about mulligan before. I think wall is a deck that mulligans quite decently because then you can lead the Stampede for 4 or 5 sometimes.
Yeah.
So you're quite consistent at eating things. And a lot of things you hit, like you really just need to hit a critical mass of walls. So the cards are very similar ones to another. Okay. It looks like he's mulligan again, right?
I think we're down to 6 at the minute, right? Yeah, this cut and then down to 6.
I think maybe it's down to 5.
Oh, that's not where you want to be when you're game down in the last round of Swiss, playing for top 8. Not what you want, not what you signed up for. But stranger things have happened in Magic the Gathering. We've seen some crazy people come out. I think yesterday we saw someone with a mold of 4.
Yeah.
So everything to play for. Your opponent might have kept a bit of a dodgy one, might have kept a 1 lander, might have just kept all the ramp and none of the payoff, or all the payoff and none of the ramp.
Yeah, also like this matchup is very favored, I think, for walls.
Okay.
I'd call it like 70%.
All right. That's
so
good. That's high.
I think you can afford to mulligan. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's rolled to 6.
It's 6, okay.
Not too bad. Okay, starting off.
Okay.
Elf, go.
Elf,
go. Wall, go.
That's the best wall in the deck.
Just land, go over on the Ponza side. No turn 3 plays. Not that they have too many of them to really fire off, but also no red mana as well. If some things like those lightning bolts did come in, would really be looking for a Utopia Sprawl here. Here we're going to go transmute this. We can go find something CMC 3 or less.
Yeah, I'm very curious if he's going straight for the combo here, or what, because this can transmute for free from the real. That is in the enchantment that with X-Pain Druid generates an infinite amount of mana. So it seems like we started very, very aggressively for walls.
I
and
like
that's,
that.
Yeah, that's what I meant by 70% matchup. Like your opponent doesn't interact well or doesn't interact at all, while you can just go straight for the combo.
Okay. Chat point out it's the exact cost when you transmute. It's not or under. Like we kind of see a lot on cards these days.
Yeah, okay.
If you transmute for 0, you have to find a 0 drop. Transmute for free,
Yeah.
you've got to find a free drop.
Perfectly.
But which free drop are we gonna get? That I think it's a little bit off our screen there. I can't really quite make out what it was. It was definitely like a blue card, so maybe it is. We are just going straight for the combo as you mentioned. Untap. Jeez, just land go is not what we want. Not even.
Maybe he has the Glamour in the sideboard, so he board in the Glamour to stop the free from the real. It might be.
Definitely does have the glamours in the sideboard. So yeah, as you mentioned, could be sat there. It's a little niche at times, I guess. But like, you know, if it's so backbreaking, which it would be in this situation, then maybe it is just worth bringing them in, holding them up, trying to play that little bit of a longer game.
I mean, I don't think it's backbreaking. It's like
they go for the combo and then you stop it. That, when they think they've got the win, you've got nothing. You're not an interactive deck, but you're able to stop the combo there. And then that's what I mean by backbreaking.
Yeah. I can see it.
Right. It's gonna resolve.
I think we say infinite mana because it's transmuting again.
Oh, do we float blue with this and then we did it, activate it,
sure.
So infinite mana? Okay.
And I can give you a small tip. Like usually when my opponents start to aggressively flicker his card or just doing like this, I feel they have nothing. So I usually go for it when I have a combo or something like that. It's a small tell of like nervous people who usually do that. So yeah, and that's it.
This piece plus this piece. So talk to us, for people that don't know what it is, what pieces have we just seen come down and what does it actually do? We've got infinite mana right now. How do we win the game?
So they had a third Drift of Phantasm, so transmute for a 3-drop.
Yep.
The 3-drop is Valakut Invoker, so it's a 3 mana 2/3 for red that for 8 mana deals 3 damage to any target. So you generate infinite mana and then you pay 8 an amount.
Keep doing 3 damage to face until
exactly.
That was a lot quicker game 2 than it was game 3, but now we're going to see Ponza on the play. You know, ideally they want to cast more than just one elf throughout the game. They would love to, you know, try and turn 2 Chrysalis, turn 3 something crazy, turn 4 Cascade in some more land destruction and kind of keep that tempo value going. But doesn't look like either player's reaching for the sideboard, just straight shuffling up and passing it back. So we might be getting into game 3 momentarily. Remember, this is a winning for everybody that's just tuning in. Round 12, there's only been 12 rounds of Swiss. So after this round, we'll be bringing you the top 8 players and what decks they are playing, and then they'll be battling out to try and get themselves their biggest share of 20,000 euros that we have on the line. But more importantly, the title, PauperGeddon 2024 champion.
Yeah. I really like the lore behind the PauperGeddon because there are a lot of like known faces, known players. So it reminds me of the old SCG where you know everyone, you know the pros. So I'm really liking because even the scene is so friendly that everyone is willing to share and talk. So I really like this community. And apart of the reason why I play Pauper and enjoy it is because you have these tournaments, but those are competitive tournaments. So my competitive side is happy, but we also have a sweet community.
It is this event, and I've said it all weekend long. It is an event put on by the players for the players. This is everybody is passionate about Magic the Gathering and eternal formats. This is what these events are. We've got PauperGeddons, we've got Damnations. One of them is going to be coming up the early on next year. So, you know, if you're into legacy format, you need to again hit the follow button on this channel because this is where we'll be going live when we broadcast that. There's talk about more of these events happening as well, like, you know, over the years and how we put them together. So it's only growing, and the more support, you know, if people love these formats and love live paper Magic and want to potentially try and get themselves on the camera to play in live paper Magic, These events are awesome. Low entry point to get in Pauper in general, low entry price for decks compared to things like Modern, etc. You walk in that hall there, you can get beer at one end of the hall, you can get food at the other end of the hall. There's Lord of the Rings music playing in the hall, which I'm such a huge fan of. As both players are off to the races, turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, turn 1 Forest Pass.
That's good. And it's adding red. Ooh.
Boom! So I like it, yeah. I feel like I like bringing them in on the play, especially if you're playing, your opponent's not got any turn 1 plays. Well, how about destroying all the land on the other side? So that's 2 lands going to the bin and no more lands. This is exactly what Ponza needs, keeping them off their land drops. We had to go to discard there as we managed to deal with all the lands. If we can potentially have an Avenging Hunter this turn, we're tapping 5 mana. It is an Avenging Hunter. We're going to get the initiative, which is going to go find us another basic. We're kind of just rubbing it in the wall's face right now. Look at all the land I've got. They managed to rip one off the top, but we know that there was no turn 1 plays because they haven't managed to play one.
I think now the window of time you have to win this is very, very short.
Oh, very well. You're getting hit for 4 a turn. Plus, you're going through the dungeon you're getting hit for 6 a turn now.
7 because he's.
Oh my goodness! Things get worse to worse. This is 12 damage. Yeah. Woo. Scoop hits a Chrysalis off the Cascade. You just don't win those games. That is why Ponza is really, really good at the minute because it has those super explosive draws. That was like a flawless victory basically. Your opponent had 1 permanent by the time that you had. At the end of that time, we would have had 6. Plus 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 power on the board that turn of your opponent with 1 land. Like, okay, this is a bit too much.
Wow.
And who says you don't do powerful things in Pauper? It's just commons. What could they do? What did they do? No harm. You just seen it there, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute crazy turn and crazy match.
Yeah. Also, like we say that usually Walls is very favorite, but things like that can happen. So, like that's beautiful of Magic.
It's like, I always love to see an underdog win. Like unless it's Tron, then I don't. Tron
but if the underdog is Ponza, I don't know.
No, I don't mind land destruction. I don't mind land destruction because it beats up on Tron decks, and I'm happy about that. So I'm happy for them to stick around and keep in the format. When it's when it's like that, I'd maybe not like if it was cast against me, continued land destruction and me missing land drops. That is a bit rough, but. Congratulations to them. That means that potentially we're going to have like 1 or 2 Ponza players now in the top 8.
Probably.
But we're going to see if we can get anyone else moved across. We'll just get our teams running around the tables right now, seeing if anyone's in the middle of sideboarding that we can get them into the match for all you all. So while we do that, I'm going to give you a little recap on what has happened so far this weekend. Friday, we went live. Top Pauper player. That is lots of little small communities of Pauper all around Europe coming together. They've had their events. The top 8 players from those little communities came to this weekend. They bowed it out on Friday. 7 rounds of Swiss, 3 rounds in the top 8 until we crowned ourselves a champion. Then yesterday, we went live. 10 o'clock a.m. local, we had 656 players turn up to battle out in Pauper to try and get themselves into day number 2. 15 points or more is what they needed. If they did that, well, then we invited 143 players to the day to start and try and whittle them down to get into that top 8. If you get in top 64, though, you're going to find your share of 20,000 euros cash prizes going out to all the different people out there in the room. But realistically, they want to be walking away calling themselves the Pauper Champion 2024. I've been told in my ear there is no more backup feature matches, so we can talk about this meta a little bit. Maybe we can get the metagame graphic on screen, please, production. Because I did see one of my favorite creature types in here, and I'm going to skip all the way around that pie chart to the left-hand side. Slivers. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think the Sliver is kind of a meme deck.
Whoa, you can't say that.
Wait, because I think...
That's what they said about Poison Storm, by the way.
In the last PauperGeddon, it went 9th for rating. So it's not a meme as a way to... be, I don't know, offensive, but it's just the deck that you face on turn 1 and it crushes you, but also you face it on the win in and it crushes you. So it's something you never want to play against. But it's also a kind of the underdog of the format, and I think it can be quite strong because it's very fast at winning, and if the format has no removals, you can just pack the right sliver to beat whatever you expect. Of course, the deck is not very interactive, but I think you can turn it to be aggressive. So I considered that at some point to play the deck, but I'm not very happy to attack as a Blue Mage. But I think the deck can be...
Ragavan, right?
Yeah,
This is with Ragavan. Ragavan
is fun. But now we have Tamio, so you attack for 0.
Sure.
So yeah, that's a smart choice, and I really love to see all those different decks that do different things with different style, because it means the format is a place for anyone. Like, you want to attack with your favorite creatures, you can do that, but you also can. We see Altartron, we see Golgari Gardens, we see White Weenies, like a lot of different styles.
Is there anything here you wouldn't expect to see? Is there any decks that creeping out the woodwork and you think, hold on, I did not expect that to day 2 PauperGeddon?
I think Gardens, because the deck stopped to be popular after the previous Geddon, because Garden was very strong when all that glitters was a card, because of course playing Snuff Out and removals made the deck strong versus other aggressive decks. But nowadays, with familiars and a lot of ways to basically keep the control decks, the removal decks in check, I didn't expect this deck to do good. But I also saw that both players at some point faced each other. So it was a mirror of Golden. The only mirror in day 2. Also, yeah, the other decks I expected quite, Also, like,
I want to talk about affinity.
Yeah.
Okay, Grixis affinity. It's the way to go for it. Is there other affinity decks in Pauper, or is Grixis the go-to, or is it just this is the flavor of the month? This is the color pie that everybody's kind of gravitated towards. Is there white affinity lists? Are there green affinity lists, or is it literally just the Grixis colors that really take advantage of it?
No, I think after the ban of Fatog, Grixis was probably the best color combination, because red gives you Crackdown Shaman, Munition, and Galvanic Blast. The blacks gives you the Dispute, and the blue gives you Thugcast. So I think when they spoiled the new cranial plating, someone was trying to brew with just red-black, so a very all-in and go wide strategy. But nowadays, I think I would 100% play blue, especially because, of course, in the sideboard we have the blast, and you can play, generally speaking, more counter spells. So I think the strength of Affinity is it can be an aggro deck sometimes, but also a very good control deck. I see someone even playing the card counter spell for blue in the main. So
why are we seeing as the most played deck yesterday being Grixis Affinity to today being at like the 4th most played deck, only like 14 copies managing to make it today too? Why are we seeing that sort of huge drop off of numbers?
I think the deck is very difficult to play. So a lot of players just saw, whoa, my cards are broken. But actually playing a 7 turns tournament with that is quite tough, because a lot of your cards requires you to sacrifice your permanents, so you have to be very good at managing resources, but also life and plan. So it's not a very easy deck. Also, I think there isn't a general consensus on the list. Someone plays 4 Galvanic, someone plays 1 and other removals. So someone plays counterspell, someone doesn't. Kenku. Like, you can build affinity in plenty of ways. So I'm very curious to see if those 16th lists are similar to the building or not. And the third thing is, of course, the deck was over-expected. So we saw yesterday the mono-red player that was playing Gorilla Shaman in the main. I even expected someone picking up Dust to Dust in the main.
There probably was somebody, let's be honest.
Yeah. So people really hate affinity. And if they can bring 8 cards in the sideboard, they would. Okay,
I'm going to pick you on the spot, but only half on the spot. I want you to give me the 4 decks you think from that meta are going to make it into the top 8 today. You can't say Ponza because you already know about that one.
Sure, I knew about some, but I would say Broadscale Combo, because it's a deck I really trust. It's very, very strong.
Okay.
And then I would say Wall Combo.
Okay, that makes sense. You know, we've seen it do really well on camera so far. Obviously, just picked up the loss there, so we're not going to see that one in top 8, but imagine there could be more.
Goblin Combo, because we saw already the player that went 9-1 the previous turn we commentated, it was very, very strong. And I expected to execute the combo well again.
Okay.
And also then I expect probably affinity, because one or two...
Okay. I thought you may not even expect affinity, because it has such a small, a high drop-off from day 1 to day 2 that potentially the conversion rate, if it keeps up, wouldn't even get into top 8.
Yeah, but affinity always won the PauperGeddon, so...
just going off historical facts, you're like, no, there's always an affinity that's going to...
Exactly.
Are you saying affinity is going to win this one? Go back to back to back?
Well, I hope so, because the player is a friend of mine, so I would be happy, but I'm not sure.
Sure. So is that 3 decks or 4 did you mention?
I mentioned 4. So I mentioned actually 4 because I didn't mention Ponza.
Yeah, you're not allowed to mention
Affinity and 3 combo decks.
There's a lot. Why are we seeing so much combo?
Because the removals aren't really a thing. So especially mid-range combo with Dispute and Duress can really prey on Affinity that plays only for removals, basically. And Ponza doesn't play any removals. Also, I think the combo decks in Pauper are really tough to understand. Like, I lost to Goblin combo on Friday because I decided to play a removal instead of a discard spell. And he had the opposite of what I played against.
Okay.
So,
or is it a 50-50 line? Like,
yeah.
If you go one way, you win. If you go one way or the other, you just odds happen that you went the wrong way.
Yeah, but it's even for seasoned players, sometimes it's just a matter of percentage. Like, what do my opponent has in hand?
Yeah, it's the guessing game. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's why we love Magic, and that's why we love like seeing what plays and lines people take and how they can evaluate it. So the better players in the room will just work out. Okay, well, there's a 40 to 60% chance. I go 60% chance because there's just variance, and that's how it would pan out. But there is no more backup feature match this round, which means we do know who will be in our top 8 at the end of this round. They're still battling out in the room, and we can't find out until standings that get posted. But when we come back, we will have the standings. We will know who's in the top 8. We will know what decks are in that top 8, and so will you at home. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Hit that follow button, and we'll be back with the top 8 shortly. So don't go anywhere.